Hey guys, it's Beardy Builder. Today, I'm going to show you how I took this block of wood and turned it into a plaque for a missionary who lives locally here. He's currently serving in Mexico, and stay tuned and see how I did it.
I'm the Beardy Builder, making sawdust fly. Hey, building with my hands, watching ideas come alive. From a slab of wood, hey, to a work of skill, hey, pull up a chair, the Beardy Builder, building still. Oh, oh, oh. Welcome to the Beardy Builder Show.
Okay, so we are at the table saw and we're going to cut this down to a manageable size.
So you barely want to get the blade above the wood line. That way, if you do actually get nicked by it, it's not as bad as if you have the whole blade up in the air. Okay, so now I'm going to cut this down to length. Get my measuring tape. And this is going to be 10 inches long by 8 inches wide. So I'm going to go a little bit long. So that I have a little bit of room to work with. Now I'm going to cut them to width. They need to be about 4 inches each board. I'm going to go a little bit long so I have a little bit to play with. Grabbing my pusher stick. Okay, now the second board. Always use the push board because you don't want this to happen to your fingers. Okay, so after I cut it down to a smaller dimension, I now notice that I've got a bit of a gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my table saw and a level, 4-foot level, to straighten this out because I do not have a joiner. Got the 4-foot level. I'm going to put it right up against the fence. And then I'm going to use it to cut a perfectly straight line. So first I need to line up my board with the blade, just taking off a tiny little bit. That should do it. Oh. Okay, so the way you do this is you want the board to stay in the exact same place on the level. So you got to push them both together at the same time. And here we go. It is time for our glue up. The gap is gone between my two boards, and we've still got a lot of meat on the wood. I want to get it down to about 3/4 of an inch, and right now we're sitting at probably just over an inch. So we'll have to take it to the planer after this glue sets. But for this glue up, I like to use the Pittsburgh aluminum bar clamps. I picked them up at Harbor Freight. They're not too badly priced, but they're nice because it picks up the project off of the surface, and it's adjustable. So you can do pretty decent sized projects with these smaller clamps. They make bigger clamps. Okay, and so since this is such a small piece, 8 by 10 roughly, probably only need to use 2 to 3 clamps. So the glue I'm going to be using, titebond. Titebond 2, water resistant, interior, exterior, and it cleans up with water, so it's really quite good. So I'm going to add some glue to this surface. I'm gonna spread it around with my finger, making sure that I get the whole surface covered with glue. Smooth it out a little bit, maybe get some of the excess off, and then wipe it on my other board. Wipe my finger on my garbage can. And here we go. Then slide this all the way to the top of the clamp. Get that at about the same level as the other one. Okay. And then adjust these back legs up to the board. Now, if it doesn't click into place, it's all right, because it will. Once we get you might have to push it to one of the locking points. There's one. Okay. So make sure that my boards are straight. Make sure that they are flush. And then tighten it down. Now I would only tighten down just a little bit, just enough to where it's not gonna move on you. Just now, you're almost always gonna have it a little bit offset, but that's okay because we've still got to hit the planer. So get those tightened down. That one tightened down. And at this point, you can wipe off the excess glue. Okay guys, we're gonna take the clamps off now. I think we're sufficiently dry. So the bottle says 24 hours to fully cure. It says don't stress the joints, but I think that's total BS. For what we're doing, I think that we'll be all right. Okay guys, we're gonna start planing this down. We're currently sitting at about 1 1/8 inches, and I want to be down to about 3/4. So we're gonna be taking off quite a bit of this wood. So let's get going. Kind of got stuck in there, left some marks, but there's no real grooves to it. Now I got a little Skype on that one. You can see it right there. See where we're at here. Yeah, we're about 7/8 of an inch right now. Come down a little more. Got one more pass should do it, I think. But I got a little bit of Skype on right there, so hopefully I can get that out. Just about 3/4. That'll do. Now we can dimension this down the rest of the way. So I left it a little bit big. So I'm about close to 10 3/16 by 8 1/8. So the sides just need to be cleaned up just a little bit. So after planing that down, we're at about 3/4 of an inch. It looks pretty good. We just need to dimension this down now. So the sides just need to be trimmed down a little bit, but the if you can see, I got a little bit of a thing that I need to take out there, and same thing on the other side, obviously. Okay, so to get the ends done, I'm just going to use my miter saw. I don't know about the rest of you, but keeping a shop clean is difficult because you got so many different things going on all at the same time, and just things kind of go everywhere. So usually at the end of the day, I like to clean up a little bit. So I don't know if you can see this or not, but you get chip out a lot of times when you're using the miter saw. There are ways of getting around this, like I could tape up the edge, but that's all going to be routed off anyway, so not too big a deal. Not as much chip out that time, but that should get me right at about 10 inches. 10 inches on the dot. And then for the other, for the sides, I like to use the table saw just because it seems to make a little bit cleaner cut. And I need to take off a 1/16 on both sides. So I can either take off an 1/8 on one side or a 1/16 on either side. Take a look at this wood and see if that side's kind of messed up. This side's not too bad. So I'm about a 1/16 on each side that I need to take off, and I think I do want to do the 1/16 off of each side, just because the sides are still a little rough. So I'm gonna raise up the blade to the proper height, and I just want it so that the teeth are coming out of the top. And that makes it just a little bit safer for cutting. So if my finger does actually accidentally get touched by the blade, it won't be a major hospital visit. And really nice smooth cut, both sides. And let's see where we're at for dimension. About 8 1/16. I'm not gonna fret over a 1/16 of an inch. I'm not making a piano. We got it all dimensioned. we are about 8 1/16 by 10 inches. Looks pretty good. And so this will be the size of the plaque. This is final dimensions. And from here, I'm going to go to the router table, and I'm going to router the edges, give it a nice finished look, and we'll go to that point. Here we are at the router table. So I'm gonna, actually I need to decide which side I'm gonna use here. I think that side there has the least amount of blemishes in it. And I'm using my cobalt router table. Yeah. So here we go. Okay, so see, got a nice fancy edge on it. It looks like I got a little bit of burn that I'm gonna have to sand out, but all the edges are pretty good. One thing that you need to worry about with the router table, you'll start to notice more burns like this if your blade starts to dull. So seems to me like I might need to get a new blade, but that was on that's end grain. But then you look at the side grain and it's not bad. I had one spot here that burned a little bit, but it might have been just from going too slow. And then this is the other side, and then the other side. So not bad. Okay, so next thing I want to do is I want to take off these edges right there. Just the leftover wood grain after I routed it, and kind of sand down the surface a little bit too. So I'm just going to use my DeWalt palm sander. Really nice, I enjoy it. And you kind of want to sand with the grain, so it kind of leaves less marks from your sanding. I'm kind of using a higher grit. I think it's a 220 right now. I should probably use something a little bit more coarse at the moment. Okay, got a new sandy pad on. It's a little bit better. The other one was kind of old. So we're going to sand down the surface now. Okay guys, so the next thing that we need to do is we need to drill, I guess, router a slot for a screw. And I've got this keyhole bit, right there that we're going to use. I'm going to be using my Bosch Colt 1 horsepower, and it works pretty good. It's a smaller router, but it does a really good job. What I like to do is put the keyhole about an inch off of the top of the board. So there's my inch. And I'll take my oversized square and I will draw a line. So center line, 5 inches. And I like to go about 2 inches for the overall length of the keyhole. So there. And then I like to give myself a couple of reference lines so that I know where to start and stop. Okay. Next thing. Okay, I've got this turned around, and now you can see my lines, hopefully. Okay, and so I've got these 2 lines right here, which I'm going to line up my nice straight board on, which this is 3 inches down from the top of the board where the keyhole is going to be. Bring that back to the edge. Grab my table. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bit and I'm going to slowly slide it down onto my mark here. So where I cross the reference line and the line for my keyhole. Okay, so I'm going to turn this on. To the next line, and I kind of drag this back, get some of that sawdust out of there, and then I can turn it off. And then pull it out of the hole. So, show you what I got here. Get some of that sawdust out of there. And there's my keyhole. So it just made a nice groove for a screw to slip in, and then slide the whole board over until you find the balance point. It should be dead center, but that's why you give it such a long distance to find that center, because there could be some variations in the wood that make it heavier on one side, lighter on the other. So there you go.
Dreams and a little sawdust smoke. From rough cut timber to a finished design, turning raw wood into something fine. Measure it right, line it true. Every build starts with something new. I'm the Betty Builder, making making sawdust fly. Building with my hands, watching ideas come alive. From a slab of wood, hey, to a worker's skill. Hey, pull up a chair, the Betty Builders building still. Making sawdust fly, hey, building with my hands, watching ideas come alive. From a slab of wood, hey, to a worker's skill, hey,